This is the virtual prison of the future, imprisoned here for 1 year, just 1 minute in the real world. There are no guards here, no other criminals, absolutely no way of escaping the prison, because the virtual prison only exists in the prisoner's head. Wanting to enter this virtual prison, just need put this black liquid in the eyes. A few seconds later, she became the first inmate of the virtual prison. Here is a dark room. In front of her is a large screen, on which is written the number of days of detention. On the ground there is only a writing board, a yoga carpet. Open the cupboard. Inside there are some bottles of water, and canned goods and some simple things for bathing. On the first day, she exercised to waste time. Then ate all the food, to replenish her energy. Then journal and count the days, to stay rational. Don't know how much time has passed. The whole screen turns red. The number on the screen turns into 002. All the equipment in the prison is refreshed from scratch. Everything is exactly like the first day. Finally, feeling scared, she started looking for a way out, but all four sides are walls. Under the ventilation hole is also a black patch. In desperation, she began to mutter to herself, constantly reminding herself that this was just an illusion. Just wait until the end date to get out. Finally, on day 365, she nervously sat in front of the screen, waiting for her release. But when the screen slowly turned red, nothing changed in the prison. She felt something was wrong. At this time, the screen suddenly turned back to 0, counting the numbers from the beginning. She was afraid that time would repeat itself, never stopping. I will be locked to death in a virtual prison of her own invention. At this moment, a wind blows. The secret prison can't have wind. Open the cabinet. In the corner there is a ray of light. Push the iron board out. Outside is a layer of glossy bags. She tried to get out. Outside was a very large warehouse, which the prison had locked her in for a year. Just an iron room. In the warehouse there were many identical bottles of water and canned goods. 12 cameras, monitoring her every corner. As it turned out, she was not locked in a virtual prison, but was actually locked up. The real world is also not only 1 minute, but actually 1 year has passed. When she got to the office, the manager said the room had a new tenant. She went to the company again, but soon it was empty. She called the police to the place where she was locked up, but the prison that was still there suddenly disappeared, leaving no evidence behind. At this time, she noticed the billboard. Her VR technology named Reincarnation was put on the market, and her partner became president. It turned out that he had harmed her. At the same time, her partner began to hunt her down. Going to the end, she can only find her best friend. At this time she knows that her boyfriend is not dead. Everything is the conspiracy of her collaborator. Fortunately, I still did not reveal the original code of the technology. They go to the headquarters of the duplicate, retrieve the hard drive to save the original code. She could finally rest easy. During a year of being locked up, she always wrote a program that could wake up her brother. She immediately brought eye medicine to the hospital. A moment later, her brother slowly opened his eyes, but before she could be happy, her brother suddenly convulsed all over, and the younger brother fell into a coma again. Must know, 1 minute in the real world is equal to 1 year in the virtual world. Now, her brother is in the virtual world, circulating in a coma. Looking at her brother's miserable appearance, she is determined to pull out the oxygen tube. At this moment, she suddenly heard someone calling her. The real and virtual images merged. She was afraid to realize that she was always in the virtual world. While dreaming, she saw the assistant holding the phone to wake her up. A second later, she woke up. But all the things she had experienced in reality took only 8 minutes. It turned out that she was indeed in a virtual prison. It's just that after the timer ended, she didn't wake up, then was harmed by her partner. Her brother was in a coma. This was all her imagination, and her boyfriend was really dead. Now she finally understood why her father was always against her research in VR, because after a long time of experimenting, it will really be impossible to distinguish the virtual and real world. She decided to stop the research. Her partner was very angry, asked her what she had been through, but she still took away the proprietary technique. That day, her partner discovered that she had escaped from prison in the virtual world and interacted with other people. She was very excited because this proved that it was a new function that the two had dreamed of for a long time. Into the virtual world, her partner hopes she will enter the virtual world again to complete the data, but having experienced the horror of the virtual world, she refused. At this point, the partner immediately took a tube of water, forced it into her eyes. She went into the virtual world again, but she had the experience once. It only took 10 days this time, relying on her strong consciousness, regaining consciousness on her own. She took advantage of her partner's inattentiveness, smeared black water in his eyes. She wanted her partner to feel the horror of the virtual world too. The first time he entered the virtual prison, he was very scared. Very quickly his body was convulsing in the real world. She still cruelly made him wait 365 days before waking him up. The fear in his eyes never recovered. He finally felt the fear of this technique not long after this girl came to the hospital, stopped his respiratory system so he could finally be safe, and her partner also gave up the VR category.